5%.
Ladies and gentlemen, misfits around the world, it has come to that time where we review the most sad and disappointing matches in WWE over the course of 2015. I'm gonna turn it over to Edge of Space for our dishonorable mentions.
And hey, Gibby's here too. So,
Hello.
I thought he was gonna introduce himself.
all right. Well, to preface this, and I said the exact same sentence before referencing something else. Anyways, disappointing. Here's the difference between worst and disappointing. Worst is just bad matches. Like there's no redeeming qualities about these matches. Disappointing are matches that sounded like they could be good, could have been good, entertaining matches, but for one reason or another, it ruins the match. And the dishonorable mentions that I have here will give examples of just that. The first dishonorable mention is Paige and AJ Lee versus the Bellas at WrestleMania 31. Now, why is this disappointing? First of all, it was AJ Lee's last match. Nikki Bella was not defending the title, and it was a bad match in general. But you see what I mean. One or more things turn it into a disappointing match. Another example, another dishonorable mention, Sting versus Triple H. People have picked this one apart to death, so we're not going to spend any more time on it. Just know Triple H beating Sting, disappointing. And the Divas Revolution.
In just sweeping declaration, Divas Revolution, most disappointing thing of 2015.
Yes.
But we're here to talk about matches, so let's talk about matches. My number 3 most disappointing match of 2015 is Wyatts versus the ECW Originals, the Dudley Boys and Tommy Dreamer. It's disappointing because you can do it right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that hard to do this kind of match right. To have the Wyatts come out on top against the Dudley Boys and Tommy Dreamer, to get Tommy Dreamer in there
And Rhino. Sorry.
And Rhino. to get the huge pops for ECW Originals. There's ways to do this correctly. And then they decided to have a terrible match and just have that one terrible match, not redeem it in any way, shape, or form, and to just walk away from this train wreck going, did we have a train to begin with? No. We never owned a train ever.
Rhino's like, where's the train? And then Devon is like, man, we didn't even build the tracks yet.
There we go. Like, it was rushed, even a month later, and this could have been so much better, just because you had more time to gestate on this idea. But they forced it. They wanted the easy early pops, and the fans ended up leaving that match with very, very disappointed. And it's not very memorable. That's why it's on the list. So that's the third. That's my third, Gibby's third most disappointing match of WWE 2015.
All right. Coming to me, I'm assuming through the power of Skype and the internet, I am going to give my third most disappointing match was Sting versus Rollins at Night of Champions. Now, this match was very quick. I'm thinking due to Sting's neck injury when he got powerbombed into the turnbuckle. But nevertheless, it was just disappointing. It was pretty slow. You know, Sting is getting old and it seems like he can't keep up. And not to mention that Sting's only win in the WWE was a tag team match with John Cena. Because he's coming off of this, he lost to Triple H, which we already mentioned, which was very disappointing and made no sense. But now he's losing to Rollins, and, you know, he's not even built up as Sting. He's built as a mid-card jobber who's had 3 matches total. So that was very disappointing to see that was just kind of the send-off that Sting has.
See, I didn't even realize he had a match on Raw, like a tag match.
Yeah, it
That's
was
not good.
one tag team match. I think it was against The Big Show and Seth Rollins.
Makes sense. All right, my number 3. Again, exemplifying disappointing match of 2015, we have The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Now, when I first heard that this was going to happen, the Raw after Battleground, I was like, this is it. This is money. This is going to be a good match. This is the main event of SummerSlam. Then, the finish happened. Taker taps out, which they did almost nothing with following that. They didn't even mention it. Paul Heyman did, but Paul Heyman has been talking about how the streak has been broken for 2 years now. He'll talk about that till the end of time. Then you have the timekeeper ringing the bell. When in history, in like the 60-year history of WWE or WWF or WWF, has the timekeeper ever rung the bell to end a match? If somebody can tell me when the timekeeper has done that, I'll shut up. I'll be like, okay, it's happened before. It makes perfect sense. But I've never seen it before, and that was the finish to this marquee, massive matchup, the rematch between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, and it ends with Taker tapping out. Low blow, timekeeper, garbage. Garbage all around. Left a bad taste in my mouth because this was a 4-hour show, people, and it wasn't called WrestleMania. That is my number 3 for disappointing matches.
And so we're going into the second round here. It is the second most disappointing match of the second most disappointing match of 2015, and mine is Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. Cause what? Once again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as the Wyatts and ECW. You can do this, WWE. You're the little engine that can.
Just do it.
You're the little engine that can. You just don't. And we don't know why. Like, you give these two guys time to work, and they'll be good. You don't give them 11 minutes. Like there's no way we can conceivably think, or very few ways we can conceivably think Roman Reigns doesn't walk out as champion. All right? So, yes, there is a tally there against you. But come on. 11 minutes that just ends with one finisher? Like, it wasn't an entertaining match. It didn't set up a cool premise. It set up Sheamus walking out, which is never cool.
Fucking Sheamus.
Like, and that's not even on Sheamus. That's just on WWE. Like, the booking here, the creative here, just it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. To read how this happens, to watch it happen, and go, wow, there's all these ways it could have been better. Roman Reigns turns heel. Dean Ambrose turns heel. One of them walks out champion. But no, we go with the obvious. It's Sheamus coming in with his money in the bank. And so just the overall mess that this story is why it's my number 2, my second most disappointing match of 2015.
All right, and my back to me for my number 2 most disappointing match is also at Survivor Series. Go figure. This is Paige versus Charlotte. Now, while this Divas Revolution is happening, we see Nikki versus Charlotte. Those are bad matches. Those are slowly bringing the Divas division back to what we would call the bathroom break. And now we have Paige versus Charlotte. It's like both of these people are very talented. And it's like, okay, so everyone, or at least me, is giving a little hope of maybe this will bring it back up to something I want to watch. No, it didn't. It was very disappointing. It seemed very slow, to be honest. Like when they were trying to do high points in the match, it just seemed like they were taking their time. I'll give it to them. It lasted more than 5 minutes, which is better than most of the Divas matches. But overall, it just didn't give off the talent that both of Paige and Charlotte have, and that could show that this could be one of the greatest matches, and it was just meh. It's just very disappointing.
All right, and with that, the actual bathroom break of this video is over, and we're getting into my number 2 most disappointing match of 2015. And that, we mentioned Sheamus before. We mentioned Survivor Series, where Sheamus just had his heyday of bullshit. We're going to go back to where that all started, and that was the Money in the Bank ladder match in its entirety. What redeeming factors did this have? Neville. And that's about it. And I referenced in another video how you could rebook this. Maybe I did. I don't actually remember. But Sheamus walked away with the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's like when you have Sheamus, Kane, I think maybe R-Truth or like
No,
Wade
R-Truth
Barrett was
thought
in
he
this.
was in the match.
Oh, he thought that he was in. Oh yeah, he thought he was in the match. And I think maybe Wade Barrett was in it. Then you got Reigns and Neville. It's like, gee, I wonder who's going to win. The WWE is like, we're going to be different right when you don't want us to be different, and we're going to give it to Sheamus. I remember sitting there and looking over at Irrelevant, who was not in the call, and he's like, did that really just happen? And I just had to turn to him and say, yeah, I guess it did. And that was our general reaction to it. It was just disappointing because we were ready for Roman Reigns, where we weren't a few months earlier, we were then. And WWE's like, nah, we're going to book this for Sheamus. That's my number 2 most disappointing match, 2015.
And right here, right now, we're bringing it in. It's the number 1 most disappointing matches. My number 1 most disappointing match of WWE, it's in WWE. It is Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at Payback.
Battleground. Is that Battleground?
It's at Battleground. My bad. We're calling this on the fly. This is a shoot program, so there will be mistakes. It's at Battleground. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. And it's this whole, like, Seth Rollins is just on a wave of momentum winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. It is Brock Lesnar has a bone to pick with Seth Rollins because he never lost the championship. Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns for it. And so the storyline is set up perfectly. This is a classic WWE storyline that they love to do. And they scrap the whole thing so that The Undertaker can come in, screw Brock Lesnar, and we can set up, yes, a good rivalry. Bordering on a great rivalry. But you don't cost one rivalry. You don't cost one rivalry for the sake of another rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this did. And especially, and there's no way WWE could have known this, so let's not hold this against him necessarily. But now with Seth Rollins out and no longer champion, you can't come back to it. This is just one of those storylines. This is just Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. It's just gonna sink because Seth Rollins is injured. They probably thought they could come back to it, but they should know Vince McMahon, Triple H, creative should know nothing in this business is guaranteed. And because of the setup for Brock Lesnar versus Triple H, we lost a potential main event caliber rivalry between Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. And that's why this match is disappointing. It's my number 1. Now let's hear Torque's. This ought to be good.
My number 1 most disappointing match, I think, takes the cake with everything. It doesn't, like, you can make arguments, but this match was just, like, are you fucking kidding me? And that was the Brothers of Destruction versus the Wyatts, again at Survivor Series. Now, Survivor Series, this marks the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker. So we have to, like you have to make this legendary, almost. Or just a great match that people will remember, and is just almost not quite a send-off, but a great start of a send-off. And it just ended up being him and Kane versus two of the Wyatts, it didn't make sense. I mean, we obviously thought that Leo Kruger was going to come due to Adam Rose's promos. We thought Finn Balor was going to join. We thought this was going to be a classic 5v5 Survivor Series match. And then it just turned out to be shit, and honest. It was just terrible. It didn't make sense to only take two of the Wyatts, although it wouldn't make sense to do a 4v2 handicap match. So, I mean, it all just came together and blew up in the face. I think the best thing about this match was Undertaker's entrance. Even that, I think, could have been done way better, because all they had was like a casket with, his stages of being in the WWE from his first outfit to his biker to his current, and they just keep redoing that. It's like, honestly, I was in my head, it was like, I could probably think of something to do better to, because it's probably said that Undertaker is probably the best wrestler in WWE history, and this is the kind of thanks he gets at Survivor Series. So yeah, my number one most disappointing match of probably eternity is Brothers of Destruction versus two of the Wyatts, which was Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. So, yeah.
25 years in the business, and this is the 25th anniversary match that he gets. Very forgettable. The Divas match lasted longer.
It feels like 25 years went by during that explanation.
All right. But in terms of disappointment, outside of WrestleMania, there's one pay-per-view that stands toe-to-toe. It is the pay-per-view where 30 men will enter and 1 man will leave. And of course, for the most disappointing match of 2015, I'm talking about the Royal Rumble. You thought it was bad when Sheamus won. You thought it was bad when Cena won. You thought it was bad when Batista won. But nobody realized just how bad it could get when Roman Reigns won. Now, in terms of Roman Reigns winning, we knew that was going to happen. But I'm talking match structure from the very beginning. You don't have Daniel Bryan make it to the end. You have Dolph Ziggler get thrown out by The Big Show and Kane. You have Dean Ambrose get thrown out by The Big Show and Kane. In fact, the final 3 was The Big Show, Kane, and Roman Reigns. You don't
Rusev.
Well, yeah, Rusev, but that was after The Rock came in, and then rock bottom, if you smell, blah, blah, blah. Roman Reigns wins, and he bled from nothing. It was all just bad, and the crowd hated it. Thankfully, that's one of the few moments on the WWE Network that the WWE hasn't gone back and tried to maybe edit out some of the boos, which they have been known to do in more recent months. But if you go back, you can hear boo throughout the whole building, because nobody liked Roman Reigns. Nobody liked this match. Daniel Bryan getting thrown out, it was inevitable, but how they did it was bad. You could get up, go to the bathroom, come back, and Daniel Bryan would have been eliminated. It's just sad. And that is my most disappointing match of 2015. And that is what I believe.
Well, those are our top 3 most disappointing matches of 2015. Like, comment, subscribe. In fact, leave in the comments what your most disappointing match of 2015 was. I mean, there's a lot to choose from, to be honest. This just was not a good year in wrestling. But anyway, you guys have a nice day. We will see you next time on the Common Cast. See you later.